I'd like to bring this meeting to order for the City of Geneva Historic Preservation Commission for Tuesday, August 18th, 2020. Can you call the roll, please?
Hamilton?
Here.
Solomon?
Here.
Stazen?
Here.
Warner? Zinke? Chairman Zelmer?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Just as a note, we are unmasked because we are all more than 6 feet apart from each other, and we will continue to do that throughout the meeting. Okay. First item on our agenda, the next item on our agenda is the approval of meeting minutes for July 21st, 2020. Does anyone have any additions or changes to the meeting minutes?
Nope.
No? And if not, can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
No motion.
And second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed?
I abstain.
Okay. One abstention. I approve. Motion carried. Okay. The next thing on our agenda is the 5-minute field guide. Mr. Lambert, I
Thank
will
you.
put it over to you.
Thank you, Chairman Zelmer. Tonight's 5-minute field guide is on Geneva modern kitchens. From time to time, I receive inquiries about steel kitchen cabinetry found in Geneva homes. As many of you know, a Geneva kitchen was salvaged as part of the 25 North 3rd, which is the Ashland Center renovation. We even heard Geneva kitchens referenced by the architects in their design of the new Geneva Public Library. The Fox Valley has a deep connection to the production of mid-20th century steel cabinetry for residential kitchens and bathrooms. Elgin Steel Cabinetry of Elgin, Illinois, St. Charles Kitchens by St. Charles Manufacturing Company in St. Charles, and the Lion Steel Cabinetry Company of Aurora, Illinois. And locally, the Modern Steel Equipment Company here at Geneva. The Modern Steel Equipment Company grew out of the Howell Company, which moved to St. Charles in 1935. In 1936, the Modern Steel Equipment Company was established between 7th Street and 8th Streets on James Street. We can see in these Sanborn maps from the Sanborn Fire Insurance maps from 1930 and 1945, the former Howell Company plant, which had several locations throughout Geneva. And then within the next 15 years, the next time a map was completed, you can see it's labeled as the Modern Steel Company with various additions and expansions. During the Great Depression, complete kitchens of steel cabinets were out of reach for the average American consumer. However, they have their roots in the development of steel Hoosier cabinets, which are also known as kitchen dressers, and they were advertised as being vermin-proof for the modern sanitary kitchen. As many of you may know, the 1920s was an era of concern about new sanitary standards, both in the home and in commercial locations. The first known steel cabinets were introduced by the Murphy Doorbed Company, and they introduced a line called the Murphy Cabinets. In the 1930s, the introduction of modular kitchen cabinets and continuous countertops were developed, and they were known as fitted kitchens. The idea of a fitted kitchen corresponded with the modern movement in architecture and the development of modern materials, appliances, and modern-looking plumbing fixtures. Frank Lloyd Wright was an early advocate and fan of steel kitchen cabinets. He installed kitchen cabinets at the Edgar Kaufman House, known as Falling Water, which gave steel cabinets a popularity boost. But during the Great Depression, complete kitchens of steel cabinets were out of reach for the average American consumer. In the 1940s, on the heels of wartime production, domestic steel production was a new and affordable market. The post-war building boom increased the popularity of steel cabinets for residential users. In fact, steel cabinetry was the standard in the new suburban homes of Levittown, New Jersey, which was some call the beginning of modern suburbia. Eventually, more than 75 U.S. manufacturers produced steel kitchen and bathroom cabinetry, including Whitehead, Montel, Servelle, and Dietrich. Of the big three metal kitchen cabinet companies, according to RetroRenovation.com, They were ranked, number one was Youngstown Kitchens by Mullins Manufacturing in Youngstown, Ohio. Second in popularity was Geneva Modern Kitchens, which later became just Geneva Kitchens. And third was St. Charles Kitchens. So two of the three most popular kitchen manufacturing companies were right here in the Fox Valley. This is an example of a typical brochure produced by the Geneva Modern Kitchen Company, showing typical modular cabinetry, popular color schemes, and showing how a kitchen could be conveniently planned by the housewife to make her job of keeping house more palatable. The Geneva Kitchen Cabinet Company advertised that they were a high standard of kitchen cabinets that were affordable for the average user. And this brochure shows some of their innovations, some of their techniques that made their cabinetry outstanding compared to their competitors. The Geneva Modern Kitchen Company introduced many ideas that are still held as part of modern kitchen design, even though the ideas have changed in style and colors and materials. But the idea of eat-in kitchen islands and open floor plans, et cetera, came out of the steel cabinet movement, and particularly out of the Geneva Modern Kitchens and St. Charles Kitchens, which were the leaders in design innovation. Geneva Modern Cabinets was one of the first to offer multicolored options, and this is a 1958 brochure that shows how their color wheel had advanced and how they recommended mixing their cabinet colors with other colors to create the perfect kitchen. And also in 1958, they introduced wood cabinet fronts to give users the look of wood cabinets with the convenience and sanitation of a metal cabinet behind. As popular as Geneva kitchens were in their era, from 1930s through the 1970s, Geneva kitchens remain popular in the secondary and salvage market today. In fact, Geneva kitchens are highly sought after by aficionados of mid-century modern homes. If you were to Google Geneva kitchens, you will see there are many, many, many proud owners who have restored their Geneva kitchens. One of the trademarks of Geneva kitchens is the handle system. If you look at the kitchen cabinets here or here, they had a plastic plate behind to keep the cabinet free of finger marks and other wear and tear behind the handles, and that was a Geneva kitchen innovation in the market. So again, just introduction to a little bit of history in Geneva and a product we've heard referenced, but you may not have known as much about. But again, locally made, and the place is now has disappeared from the landscape and is part of a townhome development. So you wouldn't even know it was once a large manufacturing site. Any questions or comments?
I would like to get a copy of that if possible.
Hey, I can do that for you.
Okay, thank you, Michael.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is the review of building permit applications, and our first one is 312 South Fifth Street.
Thank you, Chairman Zellmer. This is a project for an installation of a new front door at a significant property within the historic district. The property is located in the southwest corner of the local Geneva Historic District and also in the southwest corner of the Central Geneva Historic District that's listed in the National Register of Historic Places. The property is significant for architecture, and as noted in the staff analysis, the house has been restored with what is there. However, we do know that a front porch was removed. In the staff report, I included the Sanborn fire insurance map that clearly indicates there was a two-story front porch on the house. Unfortunately, no photographic evidence has surfaced to know what that porch looked like. So what we have here is the remodeling that was completed sometime after 1945, with the porch removed, a new concrete stoop with wrought iron railings, and then this rather elaborate frontispiece that is not original to the house, but certainly has been with the house for at least 50 years at this point. The reference examples at the bottom are just, again, to show you what the house would have looked like potentially with a complete porch, what would have been popular for the style, but the owners are not looking to replicate or restore the porch at this time. It was just more for reference for you, so you understood what the house looked like originally. The proposal is to replace the existing front door, which is, again, not the historic door. This is a door that was replaced some 50 years ago, installed some 50 years ago. The doors that would have been typical of a house of this period are shown at the lower two photographs. But again, the owners are not looking to restore the original opening because we don't know the exact details of this particular house, but simply to put a weather-tight door within the existing opening. The transom is scheduled to remain. The proposed door is an embossed 6-panel door similar to the one that is there now. It will be painted to match the existing door, and it is a fiberglass embossed door, which again is a type of door that has been reviewed and approved by the commission in the past. So with that, I would turn it over to Mr. Gregory Jones, and he can answer any additional questions or elaborate on the details of the door, any questions the commission may have.
Oh, first of all, thank you for inviting me and being in front of you today. I work for Anderson Windows. I've been with the company roughly 6 years. I'm a senior design consultant. And don't hold this against me. I'm from Seattle, Washington. Been here 6 years. Just always like to say that. From what I understand is that the door itself is not part of the actual historical, and the reason why is because of the changes. The door presently that's there right now is not, for the most part, repairable, so we're going to have to replace it. Good notes that we are not removing the transom. We're also not removing the outside trim work that's on it, so we're going to keep it exactly the way that it is currently right now. The door will come in primed, inside and out. Our paint team will come in roughly 5 days after the door is installed and paint it to those specifications that you see right there. On the inside picture, which is the one way over to the right, where it's the 1, the 3, and the 2 wire, will still remain intact. We will be able to put the door knocker on there. That's based on the Rogers, whether they want us to actually place it in or not. And the only variable is the hardware. The hardware that's currently there is super old. We're not able to build a door with a mold to actually place that specific hardware inside of a Provia door. So we'll be using some different hardware. Outside of that, everything will be remaining the same. And of course, they'll have a new threshold that'll be on it too as well. The threshold is going to be directly underneath the door. So it's not exposed to the inside or outside, but that's the way we can get under there and make sure that the foundation of the door itself is fully sealed and insulated. And this is what the doors sort of look like. It'll come in flat because it's painted. It's not going to have a wood grain, which is what's currently there right now too as well.
Any questions or comments from the commission?
I guess one question I had was, you said the door is irreparable?
Yes.
Why is the door being replaced?
For 2 factors, well 3 actually, just wear and tear over the years. Wood will expand and contract over the years. It's to the point now where it doesn't provide any type of energy efficiency within it. In order to fix it, that means that you would have to actually take the door apart and rebuild it from ground up for the most part. And then now you're just going to get an old door that has some pieces of wood that's on the side, and it'll never look it'll never look nice. And then, of course, I believe there's some issues with the threshold all thresholds are aluminum-based, but underneath it, there's pieces of wood. The way that this door was actually installed, there's no flashing that was actually placed in on it, so it's a good belief that the wood that's underneath it is rotted, which is causing the door to be unsettled too as well, which is amplifying the issues as far as air infiltration in and out of the house.
Could we go back to the replacement door? Okay. And the panel configuration is different, isn't it? It's a rather unusual, I'm looking at that existing, and the more I look at it, the proportion of the panels, and Michael, I guess we need to flip back and forth. You see how the horizontal on the bottom are rather large, and then the vertical is rather narrow, as with the top horizontal one. And when I go to the other one, it's not even close. Is that, obviously, that's probably the best you can do, but is that of any concern? How old is that other door?
Based on my thoughts and looking at the hardware, it's well past 50 years.
Okay,
More than that.
Well past.
Excuse me.
okay,
And the variance on it is based on how windows and doors were made in the past versus where we are currently right now.
I understand that.
All manufacturings for the existing panels that they currently have,
Right,
they sort of moved away from those, and so everything that's coming in right now, and this is over the past 25 to 30 years, are coming on a little bit of a slimmer model for the panels this way. I reconfigured this entire project. And in order to, how do you say, make the panels 2 inches
Right.
more,
right.
would have involved our whole entire manufacturing company redesigning all of their machinery. And that's,
Well, and I understand the issue. I'm just raising the question to my fellow commissioners, is that of any, I mean, it is an unusual proportions. There's no doubt about that. But given that it is over 50 years old, it does, in that configuration, have a particular historic character to it, that this one, and I don't know, arguably, if one would consider the older one more interesting in terms of the panel config or not, but I also understand this is the current manufacturing thing, but I have a little quandary here.
if I could make 2 points on that, because you did raise some great questions. The first point is, and again, this is the first time coming in front of you guys. I've done a lot of work in Evanston and then also Chicago. I'm assuming that you've approved window projects for steel windows. Or do they have steel windows in Geneva?
That's steel windows.
Huh?
No steel
No
windows.
steel windows.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you have wood, and then
Right.
for the most part, you approve aluminum clad
Right,
windows.
It depends on the location, but
Right.
yeah,
Right.
on the house.
The variance between wood and aluminum clad is going to be off too as well, and that's just based on technology and innovations.
not as much though as this. We tried to keep the styles and the frame very similar, and this just has a different, and I don't know if I'm opposed to it or not. Like I said, I just raised the issue, so that panel, that's it for an exterior door from Anderson. If you want one, it's those panel, obviously the width varies those, but that's it.
That is the most consistent panel features that we have to replicate what's existing. The other point that I was going to make is that, from what I understand, this is the second time this door has been replaced. The original door nobody really knows what
Well,
that actually looked like.
predates the commission, though. Yeah.
So what we're trying to do is trying to keep it within the same look, same scheme, which is to keep it the same patterns, the amount of patterns, and of course also the colors too as well, so we're not throwing anything off.
I would offer this for the commission. I didn't go into great detail on the history of the house. The house has had an original builder that was remodeled by the second owner in 1905, and I believe that they lived there through the 30s. I didn't bring that history with me tonight, I apologize. The next, I think there were two more owners before the Rogers purchased it. And there's not much information on them. So I think the question, we've asked this question before on specific areas, has the doorway itself gained historic significance
Right.
on its own? And you guys can discuss that question, but again, the period when this was done was kind of a modernization of the house after 1945. And again, not necessarily so much, it doesn't appear to be a stylistic statement or an architectural trend as much as removing an old porch that was maybe perhaps failing and replacing with something modern. So again, it's the details of the doorway are not consistent with the original architecture for this style. So that's a question you guys can grapple with as to
Right.
whether it's gained significance.
Was there a screen door on that, the one on the left? What's that? When I look at that door there, I see elements that are different on it.
It appears at one time with the current trim on it, and
door on the left.
Okay, and that's been
Yeah,
removed since, is
Right.
that still part
Taken
of?
off to take the picture.
Oh, okay.
But that
So,
screen door can be put back on top of it.
so then my point might be moot then. If the screen door is on top of it, do you really see the panel configuration?
That's correct, yes.
I guess to go back for a second, where my concern was in going through this was this remodel on the entrance was done between 45 and 55, which is within the period of significance.
It is.
Is this a matter of, do we believe the door should be refurbished or replaced? And my concern was, it should not be replaced. That it's historic as it is, and it appears to be in good working order. I mean, I certainly don't have the specifics and the details, but should it be refurbished rather than replaced?
Go
I
ahead.
guess just my comments on it is that, first of all, it's not the original door of the house. It's been, it's a replacement of the original door, so what the original styling was is really kind of an unknown. It's a six-panel door that's being replaced by a six-panel door, more modern materials, weather sealing, things of that nature. And then but the other thing is that, the way it's colored and painted is that you really don't notice the details of the door because it's the outside trim and everything around the door, which is what is drawing your attention, not the door. So, it's like, I'm very comfortable with a six-panel door being replaced by a fiberglass six-panel door. I mean, it's, like I said, it's not an original door to the house. Yes, it comes into a time frame of significance.
And I realize it's not part of the original.
Well, I guess,
It's no different than we would have with siding, because you really couldn't tell the difference replacing historic siding.
correct, but I think it becomes a point of, is it, when they replaced it in 1945 or something like that, did they just go get one from the lumberyard and get a door from the lumberyard and put it on there and without ideas of what it not,
Future significance.
yeah, and has it gained significance just because it's old? And
And that's, like I said, when I tried to do some research on the families who lived there in this interim period, there wasn't really any indication that there was some significant reason why it was done, other than probably just a modernization attempt. So, I'm not saying I have complete history on the house. It was a little hard to research on the intermediate families, but it appears, if I'm correct, there was a powder room added in the front foyer, correct? So I think it was a matter of function, that to get the powder room worked in, they narrowed the door, and that was the door that worked, and I'm just hypothesizing right now, but probably someone said, well, it's just gonna be a plain single door, let's put something fancy around it to,
Yeah.
to dress up the entryway a little bit.
And the broken pediment was that the answer to the,
Right.
even though the broken pediment really may not be appropriate for this specific,
No, I don't think it is.
Yeah, I have a feeling this is all stock elements that were ordered out of some kind of millwork catalog, to satisfy the need for a front door once the powder room was inserted. So, again, the questions, and I can bring up the SOI standards, but, the question is this showing some significant workmanship? Is it worthy of study for workmanship or craftsmanship, or evident of a period development? Or is it tied to some significant event or person associated with this remodeling? I would say that based on those two, I couldn't find anything about the people or the remodeling, and because it's all stock millwork, probably again catalog ordered, which again, someone could argue was a trend of that period, that, you just went down the local lumber yard and replaced it with something. The question then gets to be the second part of that standard, is it valuable for study? So those are the questions to tackle to address Commissioner Hamilton's, concerns,
Yeah.
and rightfully raising questions that we tackle on other material issues.
correct.
I also just want to make sure we're consistent with how we look at these things. I mean, I have no problem with replacing the door. It was one of those situations where I was on a fence.
Oh, I understand that, and I look at it as in if it were a more complete renovation, other than, I do think that that was one of my questions, was that window added, that small window added, is that into a powder room at that point? Okay, yeah.
And it has new woodwork on the inside.
Doesn't match any of the rest of the house, correct? Okay.
I mean, I'm glad we're not trying to guess at what it used to look like and
Yeah,
trying to propose
yeah.
something different.
Yeah, I
but-
mean,
And the screen doors going back after the,
Yes.
okay.
okay,
For the record, it's Bob and Emily Jones who are the owners who are speaking from the audience, just because.
It's not Jones, it's Roger.
I'm sorry.
Rogers.
I've made mistakes all day.
I'm the Jones.
Bob and Emily, for the record,
And
Bob
you're
and Emily
Gregory Jones, right?
Rogers.
Gregory Jones, yes.
And Gregory Jones is from Renewal by Anderson.
okay. So I guess I understand your concern, and I want to be consistent also. But I kind of look at it as if you came in and did stock windows from the 1960s, would we consider those historic? And I'm not sure we would. I don't know. But I think that replacing, my opinion is replacing this is not a big deal because it's already been replaced once.
Well, and if it's not functional, if it needs to be,
I actually have this, I think I have the other door that was bought at that time in my house, and it is not functional.
I'm good.
So I know that the wind comes through
All the way around.
all the way around. So, okay, I think we've kind of, If I could get a motion to either approve this, Mr. Solomon?
No problem, Chairman. I move to approve the door replacement for 312 South Fifth Street as presented.
Second.
Okay.
Hamilton,
Aye.
Solomon,
Aye.
Stazen,
Aye.
Zelmer.
Aye.
Passes.
Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You guys enjoy your day and stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next building permit review is 415 Peyton Street.
Thank you, Chairman Zelmer. 415 Peyton Street is a permit review to replace the porch decking in kind. Again, according to the permit review matrix, this is a front and side porch that's visible from the street on a significant property, and so it's coming before the commission for that reason. The property is located in the northwest corner of the local Geneva Historic District and is located in the northwest corner of the North Geneva Historic District listed in the National Register of Historic Places. The property is a simple vernacular workers' cottage that has been expanded and enlarged, I believe around 2005. The front porch was rebuilt and replaced at that time, and now, as you can see from the photographs, the wood has started to wear and deteriorate at the porch just from normal weather exposure and wear. The side porch is what was part of the construction for the new addition in 2005, and again was built with wood material just to match the front porch, to match the historic materials, but again, it has also deteriorated over time. So like I said, it is a material replacement in kind. The owner, Kevin Berg, is here if you have questions for him, but this is coming to you strictly because the permit review matrix required me to bring it to the commission. Kevin, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, good evening. I think it's fairly accurate. It's just really replacing the boards with the same look, same shape boards, same color paint, so really it should look identical to really what it should look like now. The pictures are not, that was my contractor can't be here this evening, he's out of town. He took those pictures. He's not a professional photographer, but I can tell you the boards are quite bad. There's just some bounce to them. The boards are splitting, they're curved, they're warping. So really it's just replacing them so they're as they should be.
Okay. Any comments from the commission?
No, it's pretty clear.
So you're going back with the same wood and,
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's pine or what it is now, but yeah, that's why I requested what the bids and the contractor have the same exact look. I think it's a better quality I'm going to go with to improve it, last longer, but should look identical.
And it failed after 15 years.
Yeah, I wasn't the first owner. Yeah,
you're the second owner then?
second since the
Second since
2005,
the addition.
2006.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it is. Can I get a motion to approve?
I move to approve the request for 415 Peyton as presented.
Second?
Okay.
Hamilton,
Aye.
Solomon.
Aye.
Stazen. Aye. Zelmer.
Aye,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next is our secretary's report.
Thank you, Chairman Zelmer. I have just a few items. One came through this afternoon that I need some input from the commission on. If you remember last month, Tao Chang and his wife Sally Chang were requesting to replace the siding on the garage, and that was approved with LP SmartSide trim and fascia and siding. with a smooth finish. The request now has come to change the siding from the LP Smart side to hardy plank fiber cement siding, which again is a material that's been approved in the district before. The issue with that is that hardy plank does not come in an 8-inch exposure, which was the exposure approved by the commission to match the exposure on the house. Hardy plank has a maximum exposure of 6 inches, so it'd be a 2-inch variation from what was approved. It will still be in the same colors. It will still use the same trim details that were approved for around the windows and at corner boards, et cetera. But it would be the siding exposure that would be changed in the siding material.
Why'd they change?
Quite honestly, they're changing contractors, it appears, and the current contractor would like to use hardy plank rather than LP Smart side. I think that the major issue here is not color or texture, but whether or not the exposure needs to stay at the 8-inch exposure that you approved and reviewed and approved last month.
The exposure of the base there is 8 inches. That looks like it's even more than 8.
It's a strong 8.
Okay.
But again, LP Smart side, the widest they come is 8-inch exposure. 7 and 7/8, I believe, is the actual exposure.
It's going to look different.
It's going to look different.
The idea was going to be mimicking what was already there.
Yeah. The idea was the exposure was to match.
That's why I'm bringing it back to you to get a decisive determination.
Yeah, I don't,
Can the contractor not use in this job what was approved? Or whatever product will enable it to be
He
approved?
doesn't want to.
I believe they can. I think they were just either more comfortable or what have you with hardy plank. And so that was what the request came through. I said I told Mr. Chang I would bring it to the commission tonight and get a reading from you.
I don't feel comfortable changing it. I think that 2 inches, and that's probably closer to 9 out there. And I think going to 8 inches, I think we should
Enough of a
stay.
foundation.
Yeah, it's enough of a compromise in that that was the intent.
I agree.
Okay.
I concur.
Do you have a,
I wasn't here last time, but what I do notice, that photograph on the right there of the siding, if you notice how the width is the same as the bottom sash around that window,
yeah,
and I don't know visually if that's an optical illusion because it's on an angle or not.
yeah,
But if I look at something smaller, it's going to affect the character of those, if
Oh,
all
yeah.
the windows are framed like that. Now, are they changing the window framing too, Michael?
Yes, the window frame is going to be a traditional detail with head styles and then a sill, a true looking sill.
so it won't be picture framed like
Be
that.
picture framed, right?
Okay.
That I believe is just a sample of the LP Smart side, right?
Oh,
Correct,
not of
correct.
that house.
Not that
Okay.
house,
Right.
not that house, but I'm looking at
Agree
the,
on principle, if I was part of that discussion
Yeah.
and I had agreed that is a significant difference.
yeah, it is. And I think it's greater than 8 inches actually, but the intent was there.
Okay, I'll report that back to, did you want to make a motion or just the motion stands from last month is what I'm getting?
Motion stands as from last month.
Okay. I'll return that information to Mr. Chang tomorrow.
Okay,
Outside of that, I have nothing specific to report or provide an update to you.
okay. Any other new business from the commission?
One question, is there any update on Mill Race Inn?
Again, that's not my project that I'm working on, but my understanding is that they are waiting for a response from the Illinois Department of Transportation on access and ingress and egress from the site, and that has not been received to date. So I believe that's what's holding up the next phase of design development.
Okay.
Okay. Anything I'm going to ask from the public, but I think that's it. Any other comments from the commission? Okay. If not, if I could get a motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
That was a quickie.